for a long time. But thank you very much.
Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for staying diehards. I really appreciate it. I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that we can do to reinforce what these really wonderful people have been saying in the classroom. So I teach peace education primarily to secondary teachers. And so, you know, we can't always work with 4-year-olds to talk about genocide, but, you know, there are ways that we can broach challenging and complex topics with the youngest people to help them to develop a strong sense of empowerment and voice and activism and service. And so when contemplating what I would say in order to not speak too long, I did want to focus on this idea of relationships and how we can think about helping kids to develop relationships with concepts, ideas, and individuals that are both near and far. One of the things that I do with my teachers, my students, is I help them to do a lot of perspective switching. I know we have some Indonesians in the house. Selamat datang. Hello. There's an Indonesian phrase that I use all the time. It's cuci mata, and it means to wash the eyes. And in Indonesia, that generally refers to going up to puncak or some mountaintop and having a nice vista at the end of the work week and relaxing, and feeling that breeze. But I thought that it can be used, this concept, in a very deep way here in Hawaii to foster aloha and to extend that aloha really broadly through pedagogy that is thoughtful. And one of the ways in which we cuci mata, or wash the eyes, is to see things from multiple perspectives through exercises in empathy. So one of the things that we do in the classroom is we have students write poetry, prose, letters, journals, whatever, in whatever language, with whatever cadence or rhythm is most comfortable to them as a form of expression. And we also, this is one of my students who just gave me this book today. Naomi is right there, former student. Say hi, Naomi. She just published this. Writer. And it's a book about peace, and it's about choice, and it's about how we sort of honor our own vision and values and how we begin to make a difference. And so check it out. You can actually get it on Amazon. But all of our youngest students can write, and when we look at the books and we look at them all day long, part of it is finding out who we are, but we can also have them change the endings of stories and to sort of inscribe the future with their own needs and desires and what matters the most to them, and sort of bring their mana to any tale, both from near and far away. Another thing that we do is we have them write from the people in history who were our enemies, or who were in the margins, who were in the periphery, who were not in the textbooks at all. People who were invisible, and how can we make them visible, bring them into the light? And I think that there are so many ways to engage in global collaboration right now. And we can do that through new media, we can do that through distance learning, we can do the kind of old-fashioned pen pal thing, but we have so many ways to do that if we ignite in every child the mandate and the desire to sort of communicate and to shift perspectives. One of the things that we do is a structured academic controversy. You take a controversial situation, you argue one side, then you get the students to argue the other side so that they really empathize, they feel what the other person feels, and they adopt that position strongly and powerfully. And then you try to negotiate an agreement. How do we move forward given our broadened understanding? Another way to do it is through the doubting game, the believing game, and the sharing game. So first you take a piece of work, fiction, non-fiction, olia, whatever it is, you examine it closely. I mean, you have to be careful with the sacred stuff, right? To be gentle and to be respectful. But the idea is there's so much in the way of comparative theology, philosophy, and literature. You can take something like this and you sort of challenge it, ask more from it. That's the doubting game. It's not just about trying to argue against it. It's also about asking it to be useful. You know, how can we make it stronger and grow it? And then there's the believing game, where you sort of adopt it and uphold it. And then there's the share. And how can we then find our own positioning that involves taking from multiple sides rather than one side? There's no reason to teach history or current events from one perspective anymore. That is, we have access to so much information. And there are so many worlds that have been lost and so many voices that have been silenced or drowned that need to emerge. And we need to find ways to bring that richness into every conversation and sort of to lose our center by mixing everything up, I think. One of the ways that we teach current events is to look at newspapers from all over the world and compare what is on the front pages of those newspapers and how do the differences in the way things are written, what's emphasized, what's de-emphasized, where it's placed on the front page of the 13th, how does that reveal very different versions of the truth? We become so ethnocentric, so narrow sometimes. But the thing about it is that the pedagogy of aloha, it may be, even at its most powerful, extremely local, very small. That doesn't mean that it's ethnocentric. That doesn't mean, as Puni says, everyone is welcome. Because there is an understanding that if you are there, you will sort of feel the potency of the place and you will honor and respect. So just because it is local doesn't mean it's narrow. We can work in ways that are at once local and global. And I think that we have to, in order to function well with one another and to remain on that canoe and paddling in powerful ways. One of the things I did, and Namji Steinman, who's a really brilliant educator, is here. And she's at the East-West Center. And I took a trip with the East-West Center to Okinawa. And I don't know if any of you have ever been there to the Peace Park there. It's really lovely. I love it. It is at the place where Okinawan citizens jumped off the cliff committing suicide rather than being captured by American soldiers. And there they were, these Okinawans who were sort of caught in the middle of some terrible series of events. And so what the Okinawan people have done in that place is they have built a fountain. It's a place that is very fructifying, very lush in so many ways with ideas and images. And there's a museum there. And you look out at the ocean and there's nothing, it just drops. There's no barrier. And it looks as though, you know, you can walk off right into the sea, you know, right into the waters. And there are these stone walls, just like the Vietnam Memorial that Maya Lin created. And the names of the people who died there in the Battle of Okinawa are inscribed in the walls. But what is significant is that unlike our memorials, everyone's name is written on those walls in recognition that all have lost. So these names are not just the names of the Okinawan soldiers, but the Japanese soldiers, the American, the Australian, the European, everyone is there together in recognition that the loss is mutual, just as if we begin to act properly and together, the gains can be mutual. And indeed, they need to be, right? And so the Okinawans told me that these walls were like waves, sort of moving out from that place. The idea of caring peace and an understanding of what is at stake and what can be lost, but also what can be gained, can move out like the ocean's waves from that place. And I think that's a gorgeous idea. I also think that the time has come for Hawaii to be such a place, and that all of the learning that is assembled here and elsewhere, that is embedded in place and in people and in stories and songs, that we can sort of collect them, and Hawaii can be a place that really does not only take care of its own keiki, but also because of the powerful recognition of how well we can do that and have done that in so many places that go unrecognized, that we can teach the rest of the world. So thank you for all of the work that you guys do. Thank you for being here tonight and every other night.